in the work that I've done in writing this book, for example, in some of the research that we've uncovered, there are some major players in big tech, right? You've got Anthropic, you've got OpenAI, you've got Meta, right? You've got the biggest players in the world with billions of dollars. And I make the case that they're all kind of the pedal is to the metal. They're kind of racing towards trying to be the first to create AGI, or artificial general intelligence, what I call a kind of a super intelligent machine god. Um, Even though Sam Altman, Zuckerberg, a lot of these big players have come out and said, we need governance, they're still not slowing down. They still kind of want to be the first to attain this thing. What are your thoughts on how we might regulate industry when they're pleading for it, but yet they're really not doing a whole lot to kind of self-police themselves, as it were? So what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
So I think just kind of on your comments here, I think there's there's disagreement on what the race, like the shape of the race. So we can
Mhm.
talk about that a little bit. And there is some nuance across the players on how responsible they're being and how they think about proprietary models versus open source models.
Right.
So, we're recording this, I think, what's it, May 14th. And this week in particular has been a pretty wild week because OpenAI released their GPT 4.0, which O I think is supposed to stand for omnimodal, on Monday. And then just yesterday, Google released their, I think what they're calling Gemini 1.5. And in both cases, their release, the big innovations really are in the multimodality. So they're moving from things like just text and chatbots and separate systems for video and audio and image to trying to create systems that do all that together in real time.
Right.
And the demos are pretty wild.
Yeah, I've seen
And
them.
yeah, so there's some debate around whether this shows continued exponential improvement or not, which could be something interesting to discuss as well.
Mhm.
Um, so those things are going on. Okay, and then another thing that happened just yesterday is the lead players, a couple of lead players in OpenAI, Ilya Sutskever and Jan Linke. I'm not sure if I'm saying both their names right, but resigned from OpenAI yesterday.
That's right.
And Jan in particular was head of what they call the super alignment team, where their idea was to align AIs using other AIs, basically, is the short of it. And in real time, there's a lot of different things going on. The other thing I would say is that Meta, in particular, has taken a fundamentally different approach from the other players. Meta's AI team is led basically by Jan LeCun, and Jan is a big proponent, and Zuckerberg as well, that what we should do is open source everything. That the best way to make these systems secure is to put them out there, democratize them, and let people find the holes in them. Okay, so those are all things that are going on as part of this. And it's also notable that Dario Amodi, Amanda Askell, and a few others left OpenAI because they were unsatisfied and unhappy with the approaches to safety that OpenAI was taking, and now more
Right.
people have left OpenAI.
And they created
So,
Anthropic. Is that
and they
correct?
created Anthropic, that's
Right.
right, along with Jack Clark and a few others.
Yes.
So I would be a little hesitant to paint them all as behaving in the same way. Some actors I think are behaving more responsible than others.
Right.
However, they all have profit incentives to a degree, one degree or another.
Mhm.
And in tech, having the first to market isn't always the sign of who gets the big bucks, but certainly helps. OpenAI benefited from bringing ChatGPT to market first. Now, there is some discussion. If you listen to Sam Altman talk, for example, and you can take what he has to say with a grain of salt, I think, but
Mhm.
they do have a little bit of a record of previewing things first and then releasing them later. And he would claim that this is their way of trying to get society ready for the innovations that are coming and allow society to kind of catch up from an evolutionary standpoint and be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think there's something to that. I do think there's something to releasing these things for demos of these things, letting people see what's capable, and then releasing the full models later. Also, in fairness to the tech giants, they do a lot of red teaming now.
Right.
And so internally, they have a lot of different tools, and I think Anthropic and Google DeepMind really set the bar for this. But they do extensive red teaming, extensive auditing, and to give further credit to Google, they actually followed up on their commitment from the AI summit and released some of their models to the UK AI Safety Institute to get some red teaming from a public org before releasing things.
Right.
Anthropic did not do that. OpenAI did not do that. So yeah, just to contextualize some of it, I think they behave a little differently.
Right. And by red teaming, you mean people deliberately trying to hack and show flaws in a system.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they hire people, they do it internally, they hire some external experts, and they deliberately try to make the models do bad things.
Yes.
And see what they can make them do.
Yes. My son is quite good at this, by the
way. Yeah, I believe that. And so, okay, so they are doing some things. Now, leaving this particular industry to self-regulation, I think is inadequate, and it doesn't pay attention or give fair credence to what their incentives are. And their incentives are to put the best model out as fast as possible, or at least not so fast that they get such a large public backlash that they get more regulation.
Right.
Now, Dario Amodi, Demis Hassabis. So Dario's head of Anthropic, Demis is a head of Google DeepMind. In fairness to them, I think, and some to Sam Altman, go around saying they do want regulation.
Yes.
They say that it would be better if there were clear guardrails on what their expectations are, and so that they could compete in a space where everyone knows what the rules are. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, I think that's probably accurate. I think they do want some forms of regulation so that they know what rules not to break to get the backlash. But they don't really want rules that slow down capabilities in a very meaningful way, mm-hmm. I don't think. And they don't want rules that will hurt their market share or their ability to bring things to market. And a lot of people have made the argument that this desire to call for regulation means what they really want is regulatory capture. They really want to play a role in shaping the regulation such that it benefits them and it protects a moat around their products. Mm-hmm.